Welcome to How to Make a Machinima
the hard way. Now today we're going to be looking at audio and all those other things that to do with sound, like clapping and all sorts of other different sound effects and recording.
Sound effects that we could have put in the editing, but Miraj just got crazy like he's that guy from Police Academy.
Exactly, right? Anyway guys, like you said, my name is Miraj and this is
Jibs or Starbuzz, as you'll see on the screen right now.
Or MKU for me. We do write articles as well, apparently, as well as making interesting educational videos for the machinima makers out there. Yeah. Anyway, just like in the last episode, we'd like to address a few things quickly. On our YouTube channel, someone asked, how do we do recording on Halo and console? Because the guy was talking about Fraps. And now Fraps is a PC piece of software that you'd use to record things on PC, but on console, of course, you don't have third-party software that you can use to do that. So we use something called, we actually use hardware instead of software, something called a capture card. For us, we are using a Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle USB 3.0, but we'll be looking at that in the next video, which is more about video and capturing and shooting different things. But today we're going to be looking at mostly audio. So first up on our little agenda and tick list, number one is equipment and the stuff you need to get beforehand. So obviously it depends on your budget and or if you already have a microphone available. What I would suggest is staying away from headset style microphones because they tend to have microphones that are set up for not for clarity, but rather just to pick up your voice and nothing else, more isolation rather than clarity. What you need is something, if you're going to be creating cinematic stuff or video stuff that requires voiceovers and things like that, you want something with a bit more clarity. So we suggest going for, you know, if you haven't got that much money, then the Logitech desktop USB microphone is very good. Further up the ramp, you do get a few 3.5mm jacks and different analog jack microphones, sorry, but I wouldn't recommend those unless you have a very good sound card, because what happens is, because it's an analog signal going into your computer, you do get a lot of machine noise and you want to get rid of that because it's a really undesirable effect that happens in the audio. And then you go up to the higher end where we have things like USB microphones and higher end XLR input microphones that require external sound cards and stuff like that. But the basics is, if you want to go high end, say in the region of between 50 to 100 pounds, yeah, for that kind of price range, you're looking at a company that called Blue Microphones. They make some amazing microphones. They have two microphones that we're going to recommend. The first one, which is around £60 or the US dollars there, it's a really awesome microphone because what it is actually a little sphere, and it's called the Snowball, the Blue Microphone Snowball, and it can pick up circumaural sound, so omnidirectional, or it can pick up stereo from just one direction depending on who you have recording. It's a really good microphone. It's USB, so you just plug it in and play. It's got Mac support as well as Windows, and it's a very stable microphone. The stuff we actually tend to use for previous videos that we've used, we use the Blue Yeti, which is a step up from the Snowball. It's about £80 to £90. Again, US dollars conversion right there. But yeah, the Blue microphone is an awesome microphone. I've been using it for about a good year now on not only video stuff and voiceovers, but more along the lines.
Professional.
I know.
How did you do that?
In the sound recording episode as well,
exactly,
right? The phone goes
Lesson
off.
1 should be turn phones off.
It's a good segue actually.
Carry on, man. Carry on.
Now that you've got your microphone, you're gonna need some software. So what we recommend? What do you recommend, James?
Well, something that's free is Audacity, and that's very easy to use. And if you haven't used one before, it's quite simple to get into. It plug and play just to use the recording function, and from that you'll see the recording you made, and it takes a little while to get kind of comfortable with the blue lines and squiggles on the screen, but after you play through it and listen, you kind of recognize what sounds makes what shape, not exactly, but you see where you are in the track. There are better ones that you can purchase, but if you're just starting, there's no need to buy one because Audacity works perfectly well, and your main budget should go to your mic.
So let's go on. So now we've got our microphone, we've got our hardware, and we've got our software that we want to use in order to record all this stuff. So let's go on to, just before you record, what kind of things you want to look at. So obviously a really good example for pre-recording is get your phone, don't put it on silent, freaking turn the damn thing off, because when it's on a surface and it vibrates, or if it's on the same surface as your microphone and it vibrates, you'll hear that shit, and it's terrible. Try and do your recording in like an empty house if you guys are we're like a bunch of friends, or at least I like to think we are. We tend to do it in our houses. We're currently in the loft in my house. So try and find a place where it's nice and quiet, i.e. An empty house, like if you know your parents are going away, you know, normally
because anyone making Machinima is living with their parents is the assumption.
That's pretty much the assumption. But yeah, we do your sound recording in somewhere where it's nice and quiet. We find that empty houses tend to be the best way to do it because we can't afford studios, we don't have that much money, and the acoustics of a small room or a large room, depending on how you want to do it, smaller the room the better, because it means you get less echo and you get the sound seems to be a lot tighter and the voice does get recorded a lot tighter. So try doing it in a nice small room. Again, this is a medium-sized room, so it's pretty much alright for us. Moving on, Jibs, do you want to talk about like actual recording?
Actually recording on the day, obviously just like us, you won't be professional actors and you probably wouldn't be used to recording for a script and emoting and trying to get yourself in there, but it's going to be very important, especially with the kind of machinima we're going to be doing. Halo Reach, there's no facial reactions from the guys on the screen, everything has to come through in your voice. So take the time to practice, listen to yourself over and over again after you record it, and you will be doing that in the editing process, and don't settle for anything that you don't feel has sold your lines as well as you wanted to. So it takes a lot of practice, and get professionals if you can afford to get voice actors, do it. If you've got friends that have done voice acting or they're particularly good at it, then get them involved.
Drama students, right?
Yeah,
drama
ex-drama students, or because the voice is really how you're going to sell the emotional aspect, because again, there are no facial expressions, you don't get to choose what the people do as much, but you get to choose exactly what they say. So just be calm, relaxed, make sure everyone's in a light, happy atmosphere, because if people feel tense, especially if they feel like someone's listening to them or going to judge them, all these little things kind of hang up on your voice. But just be calm. If your voice feels strained, take breaks.
Definitely, yeah. Have some chamomile tea beforehand and really, you know, try and get the clarity in your voice, because that's one of the most important things. Because a lot of people fail to recognize that video isn't just about what you see. It's not just a story given through pictures. It's given through narration as well. And audio is one of the most important things in video in order to build up atmosphere, build up narration, build up that story that you really want to tell. And so we want to move on quickly now.
To a couple of tips for while you're recording.
Yeah, while you're recording. Now, you might have seen in between all of these clips, we use something called the blanket method. So what it is that the way that sound works is that softer materials such as blankets or foam and stuff like that, soundproofing foam, all it does is it absorbs the sound, right? And it prevents external background noises coming in. And if you use a blanket, you're actually shielding yourself from some of that background noise. Not all of it, but you know, we can't afford soundproofing foam and stuff like that to attach everywhere, all over our walls. But using a blanket or a towel, or a thick towel, definitely works. So guys, let's move on to our next section, which is music and sound effects and all things soundy. Right, so first up, let's talk about music and where to find music. If you click below on the link, there's a massive write-up on our website with all different links to the different music sites. But a few of my personal favorites are the Free Music Archive, because the best thing about that place is you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like every time I go there, I just listen to a new song and I'm just like mind blown.
Yeah, it's such a massive library. You can just spend all day looking for different songs and I'll always be impressed by something you find.
And plus they do have like a search option which shows you, you can check for things that are available for commercial use, so like you can use it and monetize your YouTube videos and stuff. Another personal favorite is always SoundCloud, where you go to create and you check out the Creative Commons stuff right at the bottom. You click Creative Commons and it'll show up with all the songs that have a Creative Commons license that you can use and monetize depending on it. Again, in the write-up, check out the Creative Commons link to understand a bit more about licensing music with Creative Commons and that kind of stuff. And there's a whole other bunch of websites as well that are really good. A really good one that I found out the other day is musicformachinima.com. That was quite good, like Machinima Sound or something like that. And it's literally a website designed with music needed that you would need for Machinima, and it was brilliant because it was exactly what it said on the tin. Sound for and music for Machinima. It was brilliant. If you're using a video game engine from Microsoft, you're able to use the music from that game. For instance, in Halo Reach, we can use the Halo Reach soundtrack and so on, as long as you say it in your credits.
Feel free to use all the sound effects from the game you're using. We're going to use a lot of Halo sound effects just because they're made to fit with the setting, so there's no need doing a job again that Profession has already done. And also be inventive with sound effects. If you have a microphone, try to record them. Like I know in the movie industry they use chopped cabbage to have the sound of like limbs being amputated, which would be very, very inventive way to get that sound. But if you want to make a sound of a punch a guy, record it, or just clap your hand, that's also a sound. Hey, professionalism, man.
so with sound effects you can obviously record your own, and I really like recording my own. Again, the blanket method is really good for this. But if you haven't been able to, if you can't be asked to record your own sound effects, there are loads of different sound effects websites. You just, I don't know, Google royalty-free sound effects. We'll give you a few links down below as well. There's a really good one called Sound Effects Now, which gives you free copies of sound effects, but they also, for $10, you get a massive library of really high quality sound effects, and I definitely recommend you to invest in that.
Next part we're going to move on to, once you've actually got your audio recorded, this will be your voice actors doing the script, you'll have to do some audio editing, and we're going to give you tips for how to use Audacity. It's a very, very simple to use software. It's the kind of software, like more software, you'll get more comfortable the more times you use it. It'll start off just being random inane blue lines all over the screen, then eventually you'll start to familiarize yourself with the shapes and where the sound starts and ends. But as far as editing goes, you just have to simply highlight the section that you want to change. You can at that point cut it, move it to any other point of the track, or just go through the many options in Audacity and change the way the thing sounds. And a couple of quick tips, a couple of easy changes that you can learn just now. Changing pitch is a great way to mix up the voices you have. Just off one person's voice, if you change the pitch really high up, it'll actually go very feminine, and you can make that character a completely different character to a masculine voice. If you make it deeper, you can even get it to sound kind of demonic, or you can make it a signature alien voice, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's a very easy way of having many voices with just one voice actor. Also, another cool trick that we learned that we're going to use a lot as well is how to make a voice sound a little more robotic, and that's by using the echo tool. If you add a slight echo, less than a second, even 0.1 second after the original sound, and get that to repeat 3-4 times, then it will actually sound like a robotic voice that you'll remember from TV or movies or anything that you've seen someone do a robotic voice. Very cool effect.
Classic robot voice,
yeah,
right?
But again, like with Audacity, it's so simple. If there's any sound trick that you want to learn how to know, like how to make someone's voice sound hollow or anything like that, then just simply type it into Google. You'll have dozens of people who'll have a tutorial and have a piece of information that'll tell you exactly how to do that. And if you can't find that, feel free to post a link or a comment for us, and we'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about using open source software is that it's really well documented. So if you go on YouTube, you'll find dozens of tutorials and loads of different resources that you can use in order to make your sound that much better. I think we're going to wrap up today. There isn't much else to do. What we might do is, if you subscribe to us now and hit likes and stuff and comment and whatever, and all those yibbity yabbity stuff that we normally ask you to do, then what we will be doing in the next couple of weeks is putting out a small little teaser clip of our actual Machinima. I know for the past few weeks we've been talking about this Machinima that we're making and showing you how we're making it, but you haven't really seen anything. But don't worry, it's coming up. Also, if you do want to ask us questions, feel free to leave a comment below, like the dude that asked us last week about the capture card, I think it was. Yeah, we'll be looking into that in the next episode. We'll be looking at the Halo Reach engine and how to use it for recording, our setup for video recording, and how to plan out different days of shooting and stuff like that. And hopefully that episode is going to be a really, really content-rich episode compared
with
to
a lot of Halo in it.
There you go, guys. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
See you soon.
That was a terrible ending, man.
I always end